So everybody knows that high drug prices are a big issue when it comes to healthcare. In fact, we spend more in America on prescription drugs than anywhere else in the developed world. There is a serious problem, and we are the only country that has this kind of problem. Now, why is that? Well, I'm going to give you a statement here from an executive of a drug company that will kind of spell it out for you. Now, this is Nirmal Mule, right? He is the chief executive of drug company Nostrum Laboratories. And in response to a question of why the price of an antibiotic his company sells has increased in price by fourfold, he had this answer. Quote, "I think it is a moral requirement to make money when you can, to sell the product for the highest price." It is a moral requirement to make as much money as possible, is what he's saying. No, making money, doing whatever I can to maximize profit, that's moral. It's a moral requirement. I have to. Now, let me give you some details about what this is about. Now, the drug, nitrofurantoin, is basically an antibiotic. It has been used to treat urinary tract infections. In fact, here's the thing. Nostrum Laboratories did not create this drug. It's actually been in the market since about 1953 and has been listed by the World Health Organization as, quote, an essential medicine for basic healthcare systems. So that's to give you context into this drug. Now, this drug, now according to the new price, thanks to Mr. Mule, is now for a bottle $2,392. It used to go for about $500 per bottle. That is literally over 4 times the cost of a bottle of a drug that had previously that bottle of medicine had previously gone for. A 4-fold increase. That's insane. Now, if hiking up that price wasn't bad enough, and believe me, it is, and then saying, hey man, moral imperative, I must hike the price up because it is, I have to maximize profit. What do you want me to do? Well, that's not bad enough. He also went to defend Martin Shkreli. Remember him, right? Farmer Bro. He actually said, quote, and this is in Financial Times, I agree with Martin Shkreli that when he raised the price of the drug, he was within his rights because he had to reward his shareholders. This is a capitalist economy. We have to make money when we can. That's the mindset right there. Now, even if that means price gouging you to where you can't afford that medication that you might need. Hey man, look, price of doing business. I have to reward my shareholders. Sad day for you. Now, doesn't that kind of fly in the face of what a lot of people say? A lot of these CEOs and a lot of Republicans in office say that no, if you have the free market will take care of things. It'll take care of everything. It'll make sure that you can afford drugs. Well, this is a free market. This is a result of that free market. Look, corporations are not moral, right? They are amoral. They are profit-seeking machines. They have no morality because their entire purpose is to maximize profit. Now, this is the inevitable result. Seeing a drug or two drugs, like, for example, Daraprim, which is what Martin Shkreli had marked up by 5,000%. Seeing the price of that. And seeing the price of this increase 4-fold. This is what happens when you let these machines run roughshod over human beings. We have literally been ruled by the machines, by these corporations, by these legal fictions and entities. Now, Mule is being, of course, challenged on this. Scott Gottlieb, who's the commissioner of the FDA, did fire back on Twitter. He said, quote, "There is no moral imperative to price gouge and take advantage of patients." So that's the FDA. That's an official. He also said that his agency would continue to promote competition, so speculators and those with no regard to public health consequences can't take advantage of patients who need medicine. Hey, look, that's all well and good, right? But it's not competition alone that's going to solve this problem. We're going to have competition. Or at least we had competition. And then, of course, you had these companies. What do? They consolidate. And they use patent laws to their advantage to corner markets and to hold on to health patents as much as they can. In fact, you had there's a recent story where the maker of OxyContin had a drug. And what they did is that they first got the patent, because we have patent laws here that are incredibly generous towards the companies. Then they bought out someone who could make a generic version so that they could control the supply of this drug. That's the kind of shady stuff that they do. So we need to look into reforming that. We also need to look into allowing, for example, Medicare or the government to negotiate drug prices with companies. We also need to let people import cheaper Canadian drugs, which are just as safe, if not safer, than American-made drugs. And obviously a lot cheaper. See, but here's the thing. They have a stranglehold on the markets, which is why you can do this in the first place. And again, competition. You want to talk about competition? Well, we don't have competition at all. In fact, Nostrum is one of only 2 current marketers on the in the U.S. of a liquid formulation of nitrofurantoin. Moyle said his firm increased its price in response to a similar hike by the other drug maker, Casper Pharma, which recently increased the price of its product, which it markets under the brand name Firadantin, to $2,800 a bottle. So this other company says, we're going to jack up our price. And in response, this, Meals company says, okay, we're going to jack up our price too. But there's no scarcity in the market. There are some tighter FDA rules, but that did not create a giant, an enormous amount of scarcity in the market to justify this price hike. And here's what's maddening to this, right? Moyle told the Financial Times, quote, "The point here is that the only other choice is the brand at the higher price." It also says it is still a savings regardless of whether it's a big one or not. So we jacked this up, right? But we did undercut our competition just a little bit. Are we not magnanimous? Look at how much savings you get after we jack it up by 4 times the original price. We got to go after these guys. This is insanity. And again, 2 firms actually create this. So there's only 2 companies out there that are selling this, and they both decided to hike their prices up. But in total, 9 firms, including Casper and Nostrum, hold active licenses from the FDA for manufacturing the drug. So these other 7 companies, they could manufacture the drug, but they decided not to. Well, maybe they'll jump into it now that the prices are high. But here's another quote that is absolutely maddening. He says, quote, defending this is a capitalist economy, and you can't make money if you can't make money, you can't stay in business. We have to make money when we can. The price of iPhones goes up. The price of cars goes up. Hotel rooms are very expensive. So you are comparing healthcare to an iPhone. You are comparing healthcare to a hotel room. Look, healthcare is not a hotel room. Healthcare is not an iPhone. Healthcare is not a car. Okay, those are consumer goods. Healthcare is not a consumer, should not be a consumer good. Healthcare should not be tied to profit. There is nothing, going back to his statement, moral about this. Corporations may be immoral, or amoral, I should say. But this guy defending it, totally immoral. Totally immoral. Look, when it comes down to it, morality and the type of capitalism that we have, predatory capitalism, are not compatible. If your entire purpose is to maximize profit for shareholders, which our corporations are, then that means that you are going to do immoral things to gain an advantage. Eventually. You won't start out doing that as a company, but eventually you will. What else can you call it when you jack up the price of a life-saving medication by 5,000% or by four times its original price? What do you call that? When you overcharge people to the point of where they can't afford their medication. There are people right now that can't afford insulin, that have to save up for days. There's a story where a person, went into the doctor to get the prescription, or to the pharmacy to get their insulin prescription. And they're like, I would have been here for a couple of days ago, but I didn't have the money. I'm surprised I'm still alive. Jesus, man. If that's not immoral, I don't know what is. And the thing is that even though it's immoral, it's still under our system legal. There's no law saying that they can't do this. Well, maybe we should look into changing that. Speaking of laws, speaking of politicians, anybody remember when President Trump said he was going to do something about this? No, what happened? What happened? Oh, right, he did absolutely nothing. I think he got Pfizer to do a temporary rollback or some sort of little rollback on some of their price hikes. But look, for the most part, though, most of those high-profile rollbacks have either been temporary or have been filled with loopholes so that they can still charge exorbitant amounts. This is your free market. I'd say the free market has no business in healthcare. We need some sort of regulation that bars this practice. More importantly, I think the biggest fix for this, honestly, would be to move to a single-payer healthcare system. Why? Well, when you have a single-payer system that is government-run, the government can use its power to bring down the price of prescription drugs. Other countries have done it. Why do you think we pay way more than every other country that has a single-payer system? It's because they have that system. It works. It works. Medicare for All actually works. It will bring down the price of drugs, and that will mean savings, not only for you, but for the government as well. So, but until then, until we get that system, until we make these reforms, then we're going to end up being the only country, the only modern country on earth that still has this problem, where people end up dying because they can't afford their medication. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.